I've been with John for 8 years, no proposal. No marriage certificate. No wedding. He only wanted a de facto marriage because signing a prenup was too much hassle. He convinced me that our love was enough. That I wasn't after his money. That a piece of paper didn't matter. His logic wasn't flawless. But I agreed for one reason: I loved him. Then a girl in her early 20s showed up at my studio with John's engagement ring. The same ring he'd used to propose to me in a church. I'd been there for every late night call you shared. "You're getting old," she said. "Stop clinging to John." John's job keeps him busy, late nights. Constant business trips. He flew to San Francisco again last week. During a spa day with Emma. She called me naive for not leashing him. I argued. "I'm living with a person, not training a dog." She laughed. "You've been with John since college, too innocent. Wake up." A wealthy, attractive man like him has women lining up. Without a marriage license. You can't even play the legal wife card if someone steals him. My chest tightened. But I insisted. John wouldn't do that. Emma studied her fresh manicure. Then slid her bedazzled phone toward me. A social media account named Sophia with a cartoon avatar popped up, IP address, United States. John had been there for 2 weeks. The latest post showed a high-end steakhouse window view, wine, roses, and a man's hand wearing a mechanical watch. "The one you custom-made in Italy?" Emma asked lightly. I forced a shrug. Dining with colleagues is normal. I'm not becoming some relationship detective. Denial won't help. She countered. "When do ordinary friends get roses and Bordeaux?" "With you, Counselor Emma." I shot back, reminding her of our last wine-fueled girls' night. She smirked. "Keep that energy. When you beg me to sue him, I'll maximize your alimony." Back at my silk flower studio, I stared at John's chat icon but didn't message. He'd be asleep in San Francisco anyway. I buried myself in dyeing fabrics for a client's 60 square meter proposal setup, realistic peonies. $50. 000 deposit paid. Art students buzzed around helping meet the deadline. His call came as I prepped crimson gauze. "Busy?" John's voice rasped like he drowned in whiskey. "Pick me up tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Craving your braised pork and soup." "Sure. Miss you," he added, sensing my distance. "Got you a gift." His gift never arrived. That night, a stranger found my WeChat via phone number. Her profile photo glowed with San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge. Coincidentally, the nickname was also Sophia. I took a screenshot and sent it to Emma. Emma replied instantly, "Oh, you haven't made a move yet. But they're already coming for you. Don't chicken out, accept the request." I approved the verification. But the other person didn't send any messages. My social media feed was mostly promotional posts for the studio, with almost nothing personal. About 10 minutes later, I got a notification. Sophia had liked a post from last year's Valentine's Day when John brought me a plushie from Japan. We'd taken a photo together holding its hands. I sent another screenshot to Emma. "Is this a declaration of war?" She's digging through last year's posts. "What do you think?" But I don't even feel angry. What's wrong with me? Have you fallen out of love with your precious John? Come on. Defend your territory. 1. Rival? Crush them. 2. Wipe them both out. This is your wife's status on the line. Sis. I glanced at my phone and forwarded the like notification to John. Within minutes. When I checked again, the like had disappeared. John didn't reply or call. I smirked. Why bother fighting when I could let exhaustion do the work? Shower. Bed. The flight landed on time, and I arrived just as punctually. John strode toward me, tall and handsome in a knee-length trench coat, pulling a black suitcase. His freshly trimmed hair made him look sharp. He pulled me into a hug, burying his face in my neck. "I missed you so much, babe." I laughed and pushed him away to drive us home. As I drove, he leaned back in the passenger seat. Eyes closed. Phone charging on the console. At a red light. His screen lit up. Sophia had sent a message. John glanced at it but didn't touch the phone. "Did you get the message I sent yesterday?" I asked. He furrowed his brows in fake confusion. "What message?" He opened our chat and shoved the phone at me. My screenshot was nowhere to be seen. I gave him a knowing look, letting the silence stretch. "When did you send it?" "I never got anything." He started, slipping into his performance. "What was it?" Seriously. My phone must have glitched. The acting was so bad I almost cringed. The light turned green, and I hit the gas. Men are bizarre creatures. After 8 years together, he still thinks his lies are bulletproof. If you suspect a snake in the grass, poke it, it'll panic. When someone lies, they scramble to make you believe them. They'll prove they're right, prove you're wrong, or blame the app for malfunctioning. The moment they start justifying, you know they're rattled. Liars fear exposure. Suddenly I wondered, how old is this girl? Is her bravado, her crush, her infatuation, the same reckless abandon I felt for John at 20? How far has he let this go? At home, he casually unpacked while I reheated leftovers. He presented a jewelry box like a trophy. 8-year anniversary gift. I set it on the table without opening it. He wrapped his arms around me from behind. "Why won't you look? Still mad?" "I swear I didn't get your message. If I had, I'd have replied immediately. It won't happen again, okay?" I lifted the lid. Inside lay the ring that should have come 8 years ago. He kept urging me to try it on while eating. I slid the solitaire onto my ring finger, size 11. My exact fit. Took a photo and posted it on social media. Was this a relationship flex? Yes. Was this a relationship flex? No. Emma texted, "Since when do you bait traps? Save the receipts. If John ever screws you over, I'll skin him alive." This isn't just about defending your turf, it's about a lawyer's pride. I replied laughing, "Thanks, Counselor Emma." The fish took the bait faster than expected. The next morning, barely an hour after opening my studio, a petite girl strutted in clutching a new designer bag. She perched stiffly on the white linen sofa, violet sundress clashing with our minimalist aesthetic. Early 20s at most, fresh-faced college grad energy. "Our internship positions are filled," I announced, hauling dyed silk fabric to the work table. My paint-splattered apron and messy bun contrasted sharply with her curated look. "I'm not here for work." Her squeaky voice spiked, as if job-seeking offended her. "I'm Sophia." Yanking out my hairpin, I massaged my scalp. "We've never met. What do you want?" Her false eyelashes fluttered. "My boyfriend has your contact saved." "What's your relationship with John?" Leaning against the workstation, I stayed silent. Clever move, framing John as her boyfriend up front made me the other woman. But if he's her boyfriend, what does that make me? Emma was right, I had no standing to object. She brandished her bag coldly. "Stay away from John. We've spent every moment together these past 2 weeks, Fisherman's Wharf, Golden Gate Bridge, candlelit dinners." She flashed a ring. "He proposed at a chapel. This is our engagement ring. I've heard every call. He asked me to pick a diamond for his ex. Said it's a breakup gift since she wasted 8 years with him." "That's you, right?" I choked on my water. Held up my 2-carat sparkler. "You think John gave me this as a goodbye present?" She nodded. Snorting, I dialed John on speakerphone. His sleep-roughened voice rumbled, "Wifey?" He always took post-business trip recovery days. "Heard you're gifting me breakup diamonds?" Dead air. I glanced at Sophia. "Got a visitor claiming you proposed stateside?" Click. Sophia's phone rang instantly. Whoever screamed through the receiver left her sobbing mascara trails. I dropped my ring into the water glass. It sank like a drowning whale. Why must I play switchboard in these love triangles? Sophia swears John loves her, he'd deny it. Let them duel. Extracting myself from the draining situation, I handed others the emotional dagger to let them wound each other. Meanwhile, I remained untouched. The phone call finally ended as I finished cutting 2 dyed petal-shaped fabrics. Sophia stood there with rabbit-red eyes, torn between leaving and staying. She finally marched toward me, setting down my scissors. I couldn't resist teasing. What? Did my ex-boyfriend scold his current girlfriend over his former flame? Ivy. You old hag. She spat venomously. I retained some pity for girls her age, those who still believed love defined existence. Stop fixating on John. You'll meet someone better. My well-meant advice met hostility as she swept all silk fabrics off my workstation. You're nearly 30. Wrinkled and sagging. How could you possibly compete with me? Men always prefer youth and beauty. John doesn't love you anymore. 8 years without marriage, still think he cares? When he's with me, he whispers sweet nothings about love and weddings. If I were you, I'd have left ages ago. Hypocrite! You tell me to go while clinging to him yourself. So their American trip involved proposals and intimacy. John had truly outdone himself with surprises. The dull ache in my chest felt unfamiliar. I couldn't recall the last time heartbreak stung. Being insulted by this child did bruise my pride. Washing my hands under the faucet to cool down, I stated, "You wouldn't understand. But in my world, looks and age aren't currencies. 30 means nothing here. John stays for more than my face or birth year. My worth extends beyond skin-deep traits. Only those lacking substance weaponize youth and beauty." Her widened eyes brimmed with mockery. How pathetic. Ivy. Spouting delusions to save face. Delusions? I enunciated slowly, watching her teary defiance. The phone call proved everything. Notice who's crying here. You. Incensed. Sophia grabbed a water glass to hurl at me. Within that breath, someone yanked me aside, the liquid drenching him instead. A metallic clink followed as his diamond ring rolled near house slippers. John. Sophia gasped, fumbling for tissues to blot his shirt, only to have her wrist violently shoved away. Get lost, sweetheart. John scanned me anxiously, wiping droplets from my hair, guilty, flustered, tongue-tied. Lies demand elaborate cover-ups, and he'd run out of fabrication time. Shrugging off his grip, I calmly pinned up my hair. Clean this mess. Take her away. Collecting my fabric pieces, I entered the pigment room. 2 part-time girls peered through the doorway before following. Ivy. Should we call the cops? Don't bother. Back to work. Let the chaos architects handle their wreckage. This cost can't be shifted onto me. I'm not some obedient housewife. When I emerged from the studio, John still sat alone on the couch in his loungewear. The workstation and floor had been cleaned. Seeing me, John immediately approached, grabbing my hand while fishing the ring from his pocket and sliding it onto my left ring finger. I curled my knuckles. The band caught on the bone. His hand trembled. Darling, he said, this is our 8th anniversary ring. You mentioned wanting one. So I withdrew my hand. John, did you enjoy America? Silence. Shouldn't I be the first to know about your wedding? As your longest acquaintance, I ought to gift you red envelopes. What amount would properly commemorate our history? His face paled. After a long time, he whispered, let's discuss this at home. I shook my head, pushing him toward the door. You'll move out today. I'm changing the smart lock code. Pack by afternoon. Our downtown penthouse, every floor plan decision, each design detail, we debated and implemented together. At the handover, John had hugged me from behind, murmuring, "Ivy, we finally have our own home." I'd supervised every renovation phase, watching raw concrete transform into a sanctuary. That afternoon, I bought takeout. 8 years ago, I couldn't cook. For John, his erratic schedule from constant time zone hopping, his delicate stomach, I'd mastered home-cooked meals. He'd always devoured them joyfully. Now, entering our home, I found an open suitcase with crumpled shirts in the living room. John sat shadowed on the sofa. I placed the food container down, realizing I'd always packed his luggage after checking destination weather forecasts. The mighty corporate CEO couldn't handle life's mundane tasks. I grabbed the metal knight figurine from the display shelf, tossing it into the suitcase. "Remember queuing for this museum souvenir? You insisted knights guard their princesses in plain sight." Next went the 9-photo frame, missing only next year's slot. Our annual tradition since year one. You wanted walls reserved for decades of aging together. 8 years' worth of shared memories surrounded us. As I reached for more mementos, John loomed over me, his broad frame oddly fragile. "I'm sorry. It'll never, if apologies worked. We wouldn't need law enforcement." The ceramic bride figurine shattered at our feet. "Leave, or I will." Sometimes mercy becomes permission to cross boundaries. We need space. Day 10 at Emma's place. Between client meetings, court dates, gym sessions, and beauty appointments, the high-powered attorney barely noticed how I'd reorganized her living flow, discarding clutter, adding functional touches. Now she returns nightly to home-cooked meals, prepped fruits, freshly laundered clothes, and floors clean enough for bare feet. Sometimes I pack her office lunches. She gaped theatrically last week, a modern-day fairy godmother. Finally, I understand why successful men all need a supportive partner. Wife. I need that too. You'll always stay in my home, I'll work to provide for you. Catching her enthusiastic hug, I laughed. It's not that dramatic. I just like keeping my space organized and clean. I want it to feel warm, safe, and full of love. She waved her hand. "Stop. That's too much trophy wife energy. I could never. I hate domestic stuff. You sound exactly like my mom." I rolled my eyes. "I'm not asking you to do any of it. You're a brilliant lawyer with ambition and drive. Just find a boyfriend to handle it. Atrophy husband works too." Her eyes lit up as she nodded furiously. It was hard to picture Emma, the sharp-tongued, formidable attorney who dominated courtrooms, standing beside a man in an apron. I deepened my voice playfully. "Honey, come eat the fruit I peeled." We collapsed into giggles on the couch. Emma said, "You don't do these things just for John. This is who you are. Anyone sharing your life would be lucky." I'll stop joking about the trophy wife thing. I speared a piece of honeydew from the coffee table. Emma's priorities differed from mine. I'd always been a homebody, uncomfortable with crowds. My world was small. So was my heart, room for only one best friend and one person to love. Admitting you're different hurts as much as admitting you're the same. Like realizing you're somehow born to be a domestic goddess while cringing at the label. After our banter, Emma turned serious. "I hate being his messenger. But he's waiting in the underground parking lot. Your call whether to go down." The black SUV stood in the shadows. John leaned against it, straightening the moment I stepped out of the elevator. "Wife. I'm here to take you home. I'd left in a hurry last time, some belongings remained at the house." Practicality won. I slid into the passenger seat. He seemed oddly buoyant, tension creeping in only as we parked. I shot him a questioning look. He just smiled, that same disarming grin he'd used during every fight. The one that used to melt my resolve. The apartment wasn't dark. Candlelight glowed from the entryway, trailing toward the bedroom. He opened a cabinet, presenting blood-red roses. Happy birthday, Ivy. Oh, today was my birthday. I walked past him, following the candles to the dining table. A cake sat there, decorated with a cartoon bride. Beside it stood the ceramic wedding figurine I'd smashed during our last fight. John had painstakingly glued the pieces, whole again, yet webbed with cracks. Ambient lighting flickered on. He pulled a ring box from his pocket, kneeling solemnly. Ivy, I'm sorry. Give me another chance. Let's start over. Marry me. I won't fail you again. 8 years too late. Look. Proposing is simple, a bouquet, a ring, and the right moment to speak your heart. Yet John dragged this one thing out for 8 years. Now you're proposing to me, what about Sophia? I looked down at him. Bigamy is a felony. You know. It's just acting with her. You're my only true wife in my heart. He gazed up at me from where he knelt. Ivy. I chose your wedding dress, it's on our bed. Let's get married next month. We'll invite all our college friends and relatives. No prenup. I want to share everything with you. Marry me? This should have been my fantasy come true, the man I love meticulously planning a proposal. Our hearts aligning for lifelong commitment. Even Emma advised me, once John puts that ring on your finger with his family wealth, divorce would ruin him. You'll hold all the cards. And here was the man who walked through 8 years of my youth with me. By all logic, I should say yes. Yet I could only laugh bitterly. I opened my chat history with Sophia. Zooming in on the medical report she'd sent me, Sophia. OBGYN department. HCG levels confirming pregnancy. When did I stop loving him? When I caught his lies? When I discovered their trip to America? During countless weddings where I toasted others' happiness? Were those endless nights alone in our mansion while he was traveling for work? Doesn't matter now. The tenderness I once felt had been swept away like leaves in a storm, leaving only numbness. Emma fumed when she heard about the proposal. Belated affection is cheaper than gutter trash. 8 years wasted. I sighed. Wasted. Yes. But love's like stock trading, cut losses before you bankrupt your life. Don't frame it as me sacrificing 8 years for John. Physics proves equal force, time marked us both. He gave me his youth too. Sophia just arrived at the right moment. God. You're zen about this. Emma clicked her tongue. Not me, we're getting compensation. Real losses are financial losses. At the new tea house, I froze seeing Sophia present. Dark circles hung under John's eyes as he fingered a cigarette pack. He quit for 6 years because I hated the smell. Emma slammed documents on the table without greeting. Be decent. John. Ivy's given you her prime years. Name your settlement figure. His lighter flickered briefly before dying when our eyes met. I shouldn't have clicked in the first place. Especially with a pregnant woman present. He asked. How much do you want? Emma answered without hesitation. 8 million. The number visibly shocked Sophia. 8 million? Are you insane? That old hag isn't worth 8 million. I'd been called old woman multiple times now. Though the insult stung, I couldn't deny being older than her. John frowned at me, exhaustion evident in his eyes. Ivy. I'm asking how much you want. I avoided his gaze, turning instead to Sophia. The fact that he'd brought her here during these negotiations spoke volumes about their relationship. Reaching into my bag, I produced a small box. Before I could hand it over, John lunged forward to grab my empty wrist. Where's the watch? Shaking him off, I slid the open box across the table. I planned to mail this back. But since we're here, the matching ladies' watch to his own men's design glinted inside our former promise made tangible. When Sophia reached for it, John slammed his palm over the box. The silence stretched until he lit a cigarette. I wrinkled my nose as smoke curled between us. Ivy. He ground out through the haze. Name your price. Any amount. Hoisting my canvas bag. I stood to leave. The number doesn't matter. Whatever you pay won't change my life. I'll keep living as I always have. Spare us the noble act. Sophia sneered. You're just holding out for more money. My gaze sharpened. This isn't about amounts. Ask yourself, what's the price tag on guilt? What number buys redemption for betrayal? See? She wants more. Sophia crowed, clinging to John's arm. We need that money for our baby. Emma's eyes nearly bulged from their sockets. Staring at me like I'd grown antlers, the picture of a cheated woman tolerating her replacement. The crack of John's palm meeting Sophia's cheek echoed like gunfire. Her face flushed crimson as Emma froze mid-reach for her water glass. John! I'm carrying your child. Sophia shrieked. How dare! Another slap cut her off. Even Emma abandoned her spectator pose. Clutching my sleeve. I thought he left you for true love. Since when did this become a slapstick? I shook my head. Sophia's tear-reddened eyes darted around the room, humiliation radiating off her in waves. She retaliated with a clumsy swing that John absorbed stoically. Smoke and drama choked the air. With a pitying glance at Emma, I made for the exit. Behind me, I heard my friend regain her professional composure, while Ivy claims not to care about the amount. As her attorney, I do. Let's discuss specifics. Mr. Wilson. Emma said John has become a completely different person since breaking up with me. After I left, the two of them nearly came to blows in the private room without reaching any agreement. She grabbed my waist sharply. You knew about Sophia's pregnancy all along. Spill it. The day Sophia sent me her diagnostic report. I laughed at the screen for a long time. How could anything in this world be so absurd? Sophia. Don't you know John was born infertile? I still remember the night John proposed. I handed him Sophia's report. After reading it, his entire body slumped, head bowing until he knelt on both knees. As I opened the cake box, I said, Mr. Wilson, you might be getting married soon, but the bride won't be me. You asked if I'd marry you. My answer would have been yes 2,000 times over. But this time, I refuse. His shoulders shook as he stood up, tears glistening. His voice came out hoarse and wounded. You know that child can't possibly be mine. I tasted the cake with a spoon, cloyingly sweet. I know. You're infertile. Being with you meant I'd never have my own children. Still, I chose you. Took care of your every need. For 8 full years. Because I loved you. Sighing, I glanced around the familiar yet suffocating decor. Now, I don't love you anymore. Your apartment, your words, your mannerisms, everything familiar about you repulses me. Let's break up. No marriage certificates. No legal ties. No messy procedures. From now on, we're strangers. Yes. John was physically incapable of fathering children. Sophia's baby belonged to someone else. But this was John's private medical matter. And I never told a soul. Emma gulped water dramatically, clutching her chest. You're full of secrets. Ivy. I underestimated you. John should have slapped you harder. That Sophia will stop at nothing to climb the social ladder. Never expected this plot twist. Do you think John will tell Sophia himself? Emma reveled in the scandal for days. I deleted all of John's contacts. Never sought updates about his life afterward. The opposite of love isn't hatred. It's indifference. After countless trips with my assistant, we finally completed decorating the proposal venue. Layers of peonies in varying sizes bloomed throughout the space. Exactly as the client requested. His girlfriend adored peonies but had never visited Luoyang. That afternoon, I returned to document the proposal. When friends led in a blindfolded girl shouting, I pay my debts. Haunted houses don't scare me. I knew they'd tricked her through truth or dare. The room hushed as the clean-cut young protagonist sneaked behind her, mischief sparkling as he blew cold air down her neck. The girl thought she was in a haunted house and got visibly spooked. Muttering repeatedly, "They're all NPCs pretending. Just NPCs," when Ethan grabbed her hand. She jerked away shouting, "Don't touch me." Ethan would be furious. "Really? You remember my words that well?" Ethan spoke up, laughing as he embraced her. Sophia tore off her blindfold in surprise. "You came back early." Her eyes swept across the sea of peonies around them, passionate reds and pristine whites layered in artful clusters. Their photos adorned billboards while friends recorded everything on phones. Upbeat English lyrics floated from the speakers, "So I count to 3 and get on one knee." Ethan produced a ring, mirroring the lyrics by kneeling as the music softened. "Whoa, young peonies bloom every year. But I want you to remember these, the ones that'll only ever bloom for you in this lifetime. Marry me. Let's stay together forever." Emma arrived with supplies just as the proposal happened. Ivy and I sat in the corner watching the young couple, both our eyes misting. Tears rolled down my cheeks while Emma muttered, "That's so fucking touching." Two women nearing 30 clung to each other, proof love moves hearts at any age. The person coming to settle the studio payment wasn't Ethan, who'd placed the deposit, but John Wilson, a tall man in his early 30s with gold-rimmed glasses radiating icy detachment. His crisp white linen outfit failed to soften the glacial aura. Mid-bite of my homemade lunch at the workbench, he cut straight to business. "Miss Peter, I'm here to finalize Ethan's payment. The proposal video showed your studio's artistic scene composition excels at silk dyeing techniques. I'd like to commission your team for this floral series." He handed over a tablet with immaculately groomed fingers that felt equally frosty. I set down my chopsticks, annoyed he couldn't wait until I finished eating, scanning the intricate gradient patterns and layered textures in the designs. I looked up, ready to speak. "Budget isn't an issue. I'll wire $20K deposit immediately." He scanned my payment QR code before I could respond. Problems solvable with money aren't real problems. After adding me, he left his contact details for tomorrow's contract signing with his assistant. The payment notification chirped, $20,000 received. Inner me did cartwheels. See? Keep walking toward the light. Even as a single woman approaching 30, good things still happen.